Okay, just sending you live now.
Good evening and welcome to the Littlehampton Town Council's Community Resources Advisory Group. Meetings of the Town Council's committees have been temporarily replaced by advisory groups and will be conducted in accordance with the Town Council's agreed remote meetings protocol. This meeting is being streamed live and is available to view on our website. I will now ask the Assistant Town Clerk to carry out a roll call of all councillors and ask you to confirm that you are present. Thank you. Over to Jules, the Assistant Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Blanchard-Cooper.
Present.
Councillor Malloy isn't with us. Councillor Chase.
Present.
Councillor Tandy.
Present.
Councillor Turner.
Present.
Councillor Dr. Walsh.
You're muted, Dr. Walsh.
Present.
Thank you.
And Councillor Woodman.
Present.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Number 1 on the agenda is mobile phones. Members are reminded to switch their mobile devices to silent for the duration of the meeting. Number 2 is apologies. We have already had the apologies sent from Councillor Malloy, the Town Mayor, and we're lucky to have Councillor David Chase substituting for her, to which we thank Councillor Chase for. It's always better to have a full complement wherever possible. So thank you, Councillor Chase. Option 3, item 3, declarations of interest. The standing declarations are noted. Members and officers are reminded to make any other declarations if they become apparent at the appropriate time during the meeting. Are there any further declarations at this time? We have got Councillor Tandy.
Thank you, Chair. If I may just declare a personal interest in item 7.3 on with regards to service funding agreements as the Secretary and Treasurer of the Keystone Centre who received one. Thank you.
7.3. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Tandy. Anybody else? No. Okay, in which case we'll move on to item 5, Chair's reports and urgent items. I'll hand over to the Town Clerk to confirm if there are any. There wasn't any this morning. Anything been added at the last minute, Jules?
No, Chair. If I may just go back to the minutes.
I do apologise. How did I miss that one? So apologies for that, everyone. My screen skimmed up very quickly. So going back to item 4, the minutes. If you turn to pages 4 to 10 in your agenda, you will find the minutes from the meeting on the 10th of June. If everyone is happy with the minutes, these will be approved and arrangements made for them to be signed at a later date. Is everyone content with these?
Agreed.
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 I can get one more, then I know I've got the majority. Well, I'm agreeing as well, so I believe that is 4. So that is a majority. So we are happy with that. So many thanks. Has anyone got any items that they did want to query about the minutes, just to make sure no one's got an issue? I'll take the silence as a no. Wonderful. Okay. So we have done item 5. I do apologise for that slight reversal. Item 6, public forum. In accordance with the remote meeting protocol which has been introduced by the Town Council, any members of the public wishing to address the Council or any of its committees during this remote meetings should have emailed their submissions to us one clear day before the meeting. I will ask the lovely Assistant Town Clerk to advise if there are any. Jules, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, members, there are 2 representations in the public forum this evening. If you're happy for me to go ahead, I'll read those.
Certainly.
Thank you. The first is from Councillor Malloy, who again apologises as being unable to attend, but would like it noted that she is fully in support of the Arran Youth Project's allotment project proposal. The long-term mental and physical health benefits will go a long way for their service users, Chair. That's just for noting.
Certainly.
The second representation is from Mr. Chester, who states, I wish to put on record my concern with the efforts made by the Town Council in the Wick Parade area. I do not believe these new arrangements are proving successful, and whilst the church and Reverend Tom do some great work in that area, they are of course primarily focused on boosting attendance and support for the church. The new location for the Wick Information Centre is out of sight and out of mind, and in a very difficult position safety-wise for pedestrians. We need a marked improvement in our Christmas lights display and the resurrection of Wick Week. We need to get a group of interested businesses and residents meeting regularly to restart some of the good work that used to happen when we had a paid employee part-time undertaking some of these initiatives. If such a group were able to be restarted, I would be happy to clerk its meetings on a voluntary basis.
Thank you. Shall I read the response?
In response, we would say thank you, obviously, to Mr. Chester for his views, which are noted. The new service funding agreement with the Wick Information Centre Committee was created because the previous funding had been exhausted, driving a review of that operation. The new arrangements for the centre are still very young, and because of the exceptional circumstances of the last 18 months, it's been impossible to judge their effectiveness because, like so many community groups, they have been unable to fully operate. In the time that the Town Council has maintained its commitment to the area by improving and continuing to provide Christmas lights, local groups in the ward have also benefited from grants, and funding has also been retained within the Wick Initiatives budget to pursue such community initiatives as may come forward. Now that the country has begun to recover from the impact of the pandemic, we welcome Mr. Chester's offer of support and ideas and will look to re-engage with traders and the community to convene such a meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Many thanks, Jules. I have got a question from Councillor Tandy. Traditionally, we're not supposed to on this. However, I will allow it on this particular item because I know you just wanted to say something quickly, Freddie.
Thank you, Joe. I was merely going to add that those of us who are councillors for that area have shared those concerns, and we have actually in the last couple of weeks begun the process of trying to get together such a meeting. So I met with Ali at Morrison's yesterday, and I know she talked to Tom, and I think Councillor North East has been talking to Tom. So that is actually something we are working on. And obviously, I think like the Assistant Town Clerk says, the offer of help is heard and would, I'm sure, be greatly taken up as we get further down the process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Freddie. Just a note on there as well, I will also be meeting with Ali from Morrison's myself tomorrow. I'm not going to open this up to all and sundry for questions because it isn't what it's about. I will take Andrea's as the last one. This isn't an item as such.
It's not a question as such. Thank you, Chair. It's just that in Mr. Chester's letter, it was mentioned about the Christmas lights. And can we reassure him that the Christmas Light Committee is looking at improvements to the Wick?
That has been included in that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, moving on then to item. Where am I? Item 7, Officers' Reports. Please turn to page 11 in your agenda papers, and I'll ask the Assistant Town Clerk to take us through these reports.
Thank you, Chair. The first report that members have starting on page 11 is the periodic report from the museum, and that just gives members a general update on how the service is operating, particularly focusing on this week really when we have opened on a free flow basis. In terms of the risk assessments that were undertaken, we've taken on board, as have many organisations, the government guidance in the sense that we are asking visitors that come to us, not just the museum, but the building generally, to, if they can, wear face masks and where it's necessary to avoid overcrowding and to adhere to social distancing, use the hand sanitisers, all of the usual precautions to make it as safe as we possibly can still for visitors and staff alike. That seems to be up and running, and In terms of the museum itself, we're getting ready for hopefully more visitors, particularly in the galleries. The team have just completed a new exhibition replacing the typography. So Golden Summers is about to be open in the galleries there, so visitors will be able to see that. And the team are also working with the Arts Work project in terms of supporting them in the work that they'll be doing in the high streets, hopefully starting the end of the month. Otherwise, the report's there for members to note, but happy to take any questions, Chair.
Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, I've got the first one up as Councillor Chase.
No, Chair, that was a comment on the previous one where you stopped taking comments. Thank you.
Okay, apologies for that, David. I completely missed that. If not, I would have let you just creep in very quickly. But I'm sure if you've got any comments, if you want to email them through to Jules, I'm sure she'll take those on board. So thank you for that, David. Do we have any more questions? We have Councillor Walsh.
Yes, thanks very much for a very short but useful report, and it's very pleasing to see the number of virtual website visits that we've had and increasing. I just think we need to actually have a little bit of publicity to say that the museum is open, so perhaps a big banner over the sign outside the museums just saying open again, and on our boards around the town would be helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We'll have a look at that. I did mean to say that in terms of ensuring that the message is out there that the museum is back up and running, we will be looking to the chair of the committee to help us out with a bit of publicity and a press release there. But in terms of banners and bigger signage, particularly using the notice board, I'll take that one forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. On a similar note, I have today emailed Sophia. No, not Sophia, from the museum. I can't think of her name. But anyway.
Charlotte.
Charlotte, thank you. I've emailed Charlotte today. She was asking for suggestions, suggesting, because normally with something such as the 100-year item, the golden, so I'm looking for the name of it. You know what I'm on about, the golden summer exhibition.
Yes.
We'd normally use things like that to highlight the museum. And she was looking for ideas. I have today emailed her to suggest that what we do is myself and the mayor do a little bit of a behind the scenes type of blog, as it were, on social media to try and gain a bit of interest, both for actual virtual meetings and looking around, and for actually getting people back into the building. So hopefully that will help with that. Do we have any further questions? Any queues about to jump on? No. Okay, so I'll leave you to continue on to 7.2.
Yeah, noted those comments and we'll take those forward with the team. Thank you. The next report that members have before them, starting at page 14, is the events periodic report. And again, this is pretty much of an update, really, just advising members of how the virtual Armed Forces Day event was taken forward in the new format, as we weren't able to hold it properly again this year. And also following on from that, updates in terms of preparations for what we hope will be a nice summer season for the whole town there, with updates on where we are with the Sandcastle competition, Screen on the Green, and the centenary beacon lighting for the for the Royal British Legion, hopefully in August. And then the Town Show and Family Fun Day in September, which should bring with it hopefully a proper summer season, if you like, of events. Happy to take any questions on those, chairs, before moving on to the item where we are looking for members' views, which is regarding 2022 and suggestions to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Happy to hand back to the chair.
Thank you ever so much, Jules. I'm preempting. I can see Councillor Walsh asking a question. So over to Councillor Walsh, and then we next have Councillor Turner. So Councillor Walsh first. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Chairman. It would be helpful. I haven't got the date on here of the Royal British Legion Centenary beacon lighting. So do we know the date of that one, please?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head actually.
Saturday, 28th.
28th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. 28th of August.
28th of August. Right. OK. Thanks very much. Thanks. Very helpful. It'd just be useful to have those dates when we have these reports.
Oh, will do.
The second one is one that's not actually included in here, but it's the small programme of events in Pier Road. A, have they started yet? And if not, when will they start? I know they are offshoots of the High Street events to encourage shoppers to linger and stay. And secondly, linked to that, please can we make representation to Arran District Council about the still very poor signage for Pier Road. I keep getting representations from traders and from public, sometimes on behalf of visitors, that the big sign saying road closed gives the wrong impression. We need to have a big sign up at either end saying pedestrian precinct or open for pedestrians or something like that. At the moment, it's actually in red, stay away. That's the impression it gives to casual visitors. Road closed looks like there's a gas explosion or a crash or something. We need to actually entice people in there with a sign saying, please come in pedestrians or pedestrian only zone or what, preferably that actually. Thank you.
Completely agree, Councillor Walsh. I think we need to make sure there is something there.
And we need it before, we need it before the main summer season starts next week.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is this something we could take on ourselves, Jules, and just get something printed and out there? We must have a little bit of money lurking around in the reserves.
It might be community initiatives, Chair, through you. I was going to suggest that first of all, we get the team to circulate details of the programme. Councillor Dr. Walsh asked to understand what the events were going to be along that stretch of road. Secondly,
before you go on, can that please include any events that we've got that are related to the town council to all councillors?
Yeah.
All events to
all events to all councillors, including the museum, because often the museum gets overlooked.
Okay.
And I like our museum.
No, I've noted that. The next point that Councillor Dr. Walsh made, to turn the signage around and say open for pedestrians. We'll have a look at budgets and see what we can do to help that along. I'm not sure what, in terms of the road closed, we need to balance. I think that's what members are looking for, and so that it's more dominant that it is open for pedestrians.
Yeah, we can't get rid of the current signs. They have to be there by law.
That's what
we need one of equal size, a plastic temporary strip, just one at either end saying pedestrian precinct or open for pedestrians or pedestrians welcome, something like that.
That's noted, Chair.
I think we just need some sort of vinyl banner, something quickly produced, something bright colour to get the message down there. With relation to that, Jules, is it something where we would need permission from the committee? If so, are we able to preempt that I'm able to sign off on X amount?
It would probably be an urgent action anyway, Chair, so I would have thought you would see it.
Wonderful.
The biggest concern is more likely to be if we're intruding on the highway in any way that's considered inappropriate when it comes to traffic or pedestrianisation. That would be my
I'm
thing.
sure a phone call will soon sort that out, and I'm
Hopefully
sure
that would be
knowing that we've got some West Sussex County Councillor here, I'm sure he'll be able to help get that permission granted.
That's
so moving on from that then.
Chair. Yeah,
lovely.
But I take it the committee are supportive of that suggestion anyway.
I'm not hearing anything against, so I'll take that as support.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that, Councillor Walsh. I'll now move on to our next speaker, which is Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Chair. I agree wholeheartedly with Dr. Walsh that we need a sign for pedestrians in Pier Road. In regards to the rest of the events, I've got written in the margin for Sandcastle competition, Screen on the Green, Royal British Legion beacon lighting, Town Show and Family Fun Day, and Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Facebook, Facebook, Facebook and Facebook.
Always.
But I haven't seen anything on Facebook for any of them.
Well, the events haven't actually happened yet, so the PR will start to build up as we get closer to the dates.
Right.
So if you go to the Littlehampton Town Council website, if you go
on the Town Council.
Have you been onto the, not onto the Facebook page, onto the Littlehampton Town Council website, onto the What's On section? All of our listings are on there. I've checked them the other day. So that's where we first start advertising. Then nearer the date, we then take it through to the Facebook page and social media. There is a policy in place, which Sophia worked on 2 years ago, which covers how we promote all of our events.
Also, I would say Visit Littlehampton is the dominant website for exactly that. Come to Visit Littlehampton. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, see, I'm on the Town Council and Littlehampton What's On. I'm on all of those Facebook pages, but nothing has been coming up about the Sandcastle competition or the Screen on the Green.
No, I'm not saying about the Facebook pages. You need to go to the website, www.littlehampton.
What I'm saying is that it needs to be on the Facebook pages as well.
Yeah, we use predominantly Visit Littlehampton to promote those events. Yeah.
So the actual promotion on social media for these is done nearer to the time. So, because if not, you put these sort of things out on social media too far in advance and they get lost. If they're done nearer the time, that's when we trigger sort of the remembering of it. It's listed in the Progress magazine. There is also the eProgress, which anyone who's watching, don't forget you have an opportunity to sign up to eProgress and win £250. No, is it 150 or 250? One of the two.
Yeah.
So there is options there. So there is lots of different advertising done, and there is a whole strategy behind it. I'd suggest have a word with Sophia. She'll be more than happy to go through it with you so that you've got a better understanding of what goes on when and for what reason. I think that really help.
Yeah, it is.
I think that came into place before you became.
I think that's what the chair is saying. And by programming and being selective, that's how we ensure that they don't drop off the radar, if you like, or get overwhelmed with other things and, you know, get lost. It's a very delicate art in terms of making sure that we're up there when we need to be.
Okay, thank you. Finally, there's talk about the free concert that's going to be at Buckingham Palace.
If we're on about the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, we've said we're going to do the conversation about everything else first and then come back to the Platinum Jubilee.
Okay.
Cool. But thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Councillor Turner, but thank you ever so much. Okay, the next one I've got Councillor Woodman. Was you wanting to speak, or just that note in the side column for ourselves to say that you'd agreed with James about having the dates?
I don't need to speak. Yeah, I needed the dates for all those events.
That's lovely. We've agreed that, so that's wonderful. So in that case, are we happy to note the reports from page 14 for the recommendations numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And with that, Chair, we'll do that circulation as agreed by members earlier.
Yes, thank you. So I now open it up to questions about questions or suggestions for item 6, which is to consider and make suggestions to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, which is in 2022, which I'm sure the area is going to be eager to see us do what we normally do and deliver a great event. Now, I have had my own personal idea on this, which I think is probably going to be in a similar vein to something Councillor Turner has just popped up with. So we do know there's going to be huge celebrations at Buckingham Palace, and one of the events that I always look to go, what do we already do that can be altered to make a great event, so that officers haven't got tons of finding out, etc. to do. And obviously one of our events that we do well is Screen on the Green. And the idea I've come up with is, and I think Andrea might be on a similar vein here, which would be great, was Queen on the Green. To celebrate, we actually put on a second screen event on that day and live stream it onto the inflatable screen in a similar way that we do our normal Screen on the Green. The whole thing there would be quite easy to do. We can encourage people to dress up, crowns, sceptres, and dare I say it, I'm now probably going to have Jules cringe slightly at the end. I think it'd be wonderful to have fireworks at the end. But I'll open it up and see what people's thoughts are. I'm not getting any, I'm carrying on talking because I've got no cues coming up in the sidebar. There we go. Councillor Turner.
I've got to keep you happy, Billy. There's no keeping me quiet.
I would have called you anyway, my dear.
What I was going to suggest, and you may be on the same lines, is that the concert that's being screened at Buckingham Palace, are we going to have a screen on the green displaying the concert that's being held at Buckingham Palace?
That's what I'm suggesting, is that we do it, and that's the idea, is that we have a play on words and we call it Queen on the Green. Yeah,
and we can all dress up or whatever, but we come and watch.
I might not dress up because people might get worried.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, so it's a concert that's going to be held at Buckingham Palace, and we'll screen it on the green. Yes. Great idea. Absolutely.
And I just think that will bring everyone together, and it's a great way to celebrate our monarch. Absolutely. Okay, so thank you for that, Councillor Turner. Next up, we have Councillor Walsh.
Yes, thanks, Chairman. I just wanted to support you on that. I think that is absolutely a splendid thing to do. We'll have to pray for good weather. I remember Coronation Day, and it rained, I'm afraid, on June the 2nd. So we need a dry day for this one, 70 years on. So yes, I'm very supportive of that. I think to encourage a big community event like that, and we've got the tradition of the screen on the green there, I think to actually adapt it for this one, and that name I like as well, will be splendid. It's just the sort of event, a concert with all the sort of partying that goes with that, and hopefully this time next year we'll be well past the worst of the pandemic. So very supportive of that, and I think we should also, around that time, look to encouraging any street parties that might be organised. Now, I know street parties are somewhat old-fashioned, but there are still some sections of the community that like to have them, and I think should be prepared to allow that to happen, to facilitate it, to encourage it, and even to help out a little bit with organising them in appropriate places. Things have changed a lot. There's a lot more cars around, streets are not quite so empty, etc. But there may be one or two streets in the town that wish to have a street party, and we should help that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh, and thank you for your support on that. I disagree with you about the street parties, but only to say I don't think they're old-fashioned. I think there's been a bit of a revolution on these things, particularly with the pandemic. People have enjoyed doing things like that again and getting a bit of sense of community. So I think that would actually go down very well. Next we have Councillor Woodman. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening. Hi. Yeah, I love the idea of the Queen on the Green, and I love the idea of street parties. I think we should be doing lots of events as well. Reading through the documents on page 20, there's the big Jubilee lunch, and it talks about street parties and things there. But I'm wondering if, thinking about the community fridge, the food bank, you know, people that may be in need of a lunch, could we perhaps organise some kind of free lunch for people that need it somewhere, you know, to bring in everybody from the community, not just the people who can afford it? Does that make sense?
Lovely idea. Very
I don't
well
know how, but I think, you know.
I think that's brilliant. So thank you ever so much for that idea, Councillor Woodman. I think that's one that we can work with the two organisations, the Littlehampton Food Bank and the Littlehampton, I can't remember the other one.
Community Fridge.
Community Fridge. Certainly put something like that on. It might be that we can also work with Turning Tides to ensure that everyone, as you quite rightly say, has the opportunity to celebrate. Councillor Walsh, you've appeared back on screen.
Yes, and I was just going to say if we could include the churches together in Littlehampton on that as well, because they will have contact with quite a few of those groups.
Yes, brilliant. So I think that would give a very nice rounded approach to the celebrations. I think we've got some great ideas there. So to summarise, we're looking at supporting the Big Jubilee lunch in association with, I'll use the wording carefully because we can't guarantee who wants to work with us, but with support from other outside bodies and community groups, to arrange a secondary screen on the green, for Queen on the Green, with sort of pre-entertainment, but with the live Buckingham Palace show, and with fireworks after. I do like a firework. So can I check, is everyone content with that and happy?
I've also got through you, Chair, the idea of street parties, which is something that we'll do our best with, but as I'm sure members will be aware, road closures will be the key thing there. But the idea is to generate those ideas now so that the team can go away and explore what it would take and what the options are likely to be. More especially, I would just remind members that at the moment we haven't got a budget set for this. So the sooner we start work on it, the sooner we can get some figures together so that you know what you're dealing with.
Definitely.
We will be circulating to all councillors as well, just to share some initial thoughts and get any other feedback that members might have who aren't actually with us this evening.
Can I just chip in one other little thing? I can't remember what the date of Armed Forces Day is next year. We may not have it yet, but that should have an element in it as well, celebrating the Platinum Jubilee. Bearing in mind, of course, that the actual accession day is in February, we'll have already passed the 70th. So right. in a sense, we'll be celebrating from February the 6th through to June the 2nd weekend. And Armed Forces Day, I think, comes before that.
I'm going to say it's more likely to be Saturday
after it.
25th. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's after it, then we just need to have an event in probably in the Drumhead service just to commemorate that as well.
Well thought. I think for any events that we normally do, if there are opportunities to even nod to, I think we need to take those.
Yeah, so take into consideration the actual accession date as well as the celebration date.
Yeah. Yeah. And, but specifically up to look at Armed Forces Day and have something in it, as I say, probably during the Drumhead service to commemorate that Jubilee.
That's wonderful. Noted, Chair.
Okay, on that note, is everyone content with what's been proposed?
As I said, the members will work those through and bring back a report in September to show you what that might look like and how the costs are looking. Okay.
And if anyone does have any more ideas between now and then, please do feel free to get in touch with us about those, because the more ideas we've got, the better. And it could be someone comes away from this and goes, oh, have you considered adding this onto the screen on the green idea? And we will still have a chance to discuss that. So do still have a think, whether you're a councillor or a member of the public watching now. Okay. I like this. I'm using this as my advertising today. I've lost my other computer. Hang on, here we go. I'll use my backup method. So we're on to you may have to help me because my computer's gone down the side of me.
Okay, we're at agenda item 7.3, Chair, which is the Community Resources Officer report.
Sorry, I've just got it back up and running. Community Resources report, pages 21 to 31. So we have Jules, who's going to summarise the report for us, and then hand back for questions.
Thank you, Chair. This is a periodic update for members following on from the last meeting, really, and just to keep members informed of some of the community work and facilities that we are currently active in. So there's updates there for members in terms of the allotments and particularly the new allotments that are being created at Worthing Road, which are progressing nicely, but due to materials supplies issues, we had hoped to be in a position to start opening those at the beginning of August. That now looks like it's going to be more towards the middle of August for factors that are completely outside our control. But I will say that the developer is working very well with us and has done throughout to ensure those get delivered now as soon as possible. Other updates on there relate to the contracts that we've got running, and in that respect the bids for the tree work at Rosemead Park need to be in by the end of July, and we'll be assessing those in early August, and hopefully we'll have a plan that we can inform you of in the September meeting. The floral contract is about to be released. That will go out in the next week or so. Christmas lights, as we know, we've got some guidelines in terms of tweaks and improvements for this year's display, and then in the early part of next year we'll get the working group together again to start to look in earnest at the re-tender exercise. War Memorial, again, that's another tender which will be reviewed in the late autumn, as that's due for renewal on a 3-year contract. For members' information, as with the Manor House, Southfields Jubilee Centre is now open, free flow as it were, and pleasingly a lot of our groups are looking to come back, but again we're helping them out in terms of providing advice and guidance which is based around what everyone is seeing nationwide at the moment anyway. There are a couple of specific items in there that we are asking members to have a look at. If I might turn to the recommendations and just say that we're looking to confirm the representation from this committee on the allotments working group. And that's currently yourself, Chair, Councillors Malloy, Tandy and Turner, as we are hoping, all being well, to sit down with our reps on the sites there and have a proper meeting with them for the first time in 2 years nearly on the 19th of August. So I'd ask the committee and those members if they're happy to continue in that form.
Okay, so first of all, we have got that recommendation here. I am happy to stay on that. I will say it is useful to have it as members of this committee. The only one who's not present is Councillor Malloy. Do we know if she has agreed in principle?
I don't actually, but we will check that rather than take it for granted.
Okay, I'm wondering if Councillor Chase might be nice enough to just text Councillor Malloy and just find out whilst we're on here, because that'd be quite useful. Can I just check the other two we've got? Councillor Tandy and Councillor Turner, are you both content to continue?
Agreed.
Freddie?
Of course, Chair.
I know you enjoy the allotments one. I've got Councillor Walsh unmuted. Are you wanting to ask a question?
No, I'm just going to say I agree to the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chase, was you able to contact her?
Perhaps
I'm waiting for a response.
Okay, thank you.
She's at work, so she might not do.
Oh, okay, yes, I
If she
forgot.
does.
I thought she might have been on a mayoral engagement and able to just check a message. That's fine.
And I will declare an interest on the next page as well, if it's coming up. I know it's only probably to be noted, but as a trustee of Arran Community Transport.
No problem. Okay, so what I'll say is, working on the assumption that Councillor Malloy is content to continue, are we all, firstly, I'm going to do this in two parts. Firstly, are we content that our membership is agreed?
Agreed.
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 Wonderful. Secondly, in the case that Councillor Malloy isn't able to commit to that one, do we have anyone else who would be prepared to be ready to step into that breach? I'm looking at either Councillor Woodman or Councillor Walsh. Both are very quiet.
Sorry, what am I stepping into?
So, if Councillor Malloy is unable to take on being on the allotments group, would you be prepared to take her place if she's not, if she doesn't want to be on it? It's a very good group.
I have a strange memory of the words allotment and nightmare coming out of your mouth in the same sentence.
Not at all. The allotments, it is a very good group. There's
yes. If Councillor Malloy is unable to do it, yes, I will.
Wonderful. Thank you ever so much, Bob. So are we all content that if Councillor Malloy is not able to, Councillor Woodman will step in?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Wonderful. So that then covers that eventuality. I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, oh, sorry. Is someone wanting to talk? Got heard a voice there. Nope. Okay. So where are we? 2.1.2. Approve the request from the Wick Information Centre Management Committee regarding the one-off departure from the SFA as set out in paragraph 3.2.2 of the report. Are we all happy with that?
Agreed.
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 And also, Chairman, Councillor Woodman is off the hook. Councillor Malloy is happy to stay.
Wonderful. Please pass our thanks back on to Councillor Malloy. And thank you, Bob, for being prepared to ready step in. We'll get you on there in the future. Okay. 1.3 is agree to progress options to review the grant criteria as set out in paragraph 3.8.2 of the report and bring detailed proposals back for members' consideration at the September meeting. Are we all happy with that?
Agreed.
Agreed.
One more.
Yes, agreed.
Fantastic. I would like to have with myself agreed, then I know that we've got a majority. 1.4, if agreed to progress the Arran Youth Project proposal through the allotments working group as set out in paragraphs 3.9.2. Just to remind people, Councillor Malloy had written in to express her support for this. I'm personally very supportive of this, and I think it would be a great way forward. Does anyone have any questions on that particular one, or is everyone happy to agree that one?
Great idea. Agreed.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Absolutely agreed.
I like no-brainer ones. Wonderful. So, and then 2 is just otherwise note the report of this. Otherwise note this report. Thank you everyone for that one. Next is my screen keeps going dead. is 7.4 Arran District Council's tree planting strategy, which is on pages 32 to 35. So I'm going to ask Jules to summarise the report and the recommendations and then hand back for questions.
Indeed, Chair. And in terms of summary, it's very brief because the District Council are themselves putting out this consultation, and they are reviewing their own tree planting strategy for their parks and open spaces, and they're writing to their town and parish councils and wanting to know if we've got anything we want to add, how we feel about it. The one item that I've already populated it with, because it is a priority for this council, is your views as members on the priorities which you have highlighted yourselves as being tree planting. We've put it together with the wild meadow planting strategy as well, because it's all part and parcel of the idea that the town council will be more green, if you like, in its outlook and look to improve basic areas in the town around its own infrastructure and the new gateways into the town, and introduce more trees and other planting to support that. But happy to take any other suggestions from members in terms of other comments that they would wish submitted.
Okay, thank you. So I have a question from Councillor Walsh first.
Thanks very much, Chairman. 3 very brief points. Thank you for the report. I welcome the highlighting in question 5, which I think we should support because they are our policy already. With question 9, I think I would like to see an answer there, as many trees in residential verges as possible. There are quite a few roads where trees have been lost for one reason or another, natural death, or they've been knocked down or whatever. And I think we need to try and replace as many of those in residential verges as possible. A, it helps beautify the place, and B, it does help with reducing carbon. So I would strongly support that. And the third and final thing, which is only tangentially linked to this, I have this week requested an emergency tree preservation order on the lime tree next to the arcade in Littlehampton High Street. And I would be grateful if the committee would support that.
Okay, we'll take the lime tree as a separate item right at the end. Thank you for that, James. Does anyone else have any questions relating to this? Okay, Councillor Turner. I didn't call you, but your face appeared, and what a lovely face it is.
Yes, I've got a query about question 8 on this survey.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to send this hard copy in, or are we supposed to do it online? And what they want us, or what you want us to say in terms of financial contribution towards the purchase, planting and aftercare of trees. What are we supposed to circle there? Because I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, we don't have any resources, if you like, to add. We have a programme of looking after our own trees, because obviously we have a substantial stock within our own properties and premises that we operate. So we would add those to this, if you like. In terms of resources, we don't have any additional budget, unfortunately, to give to support that. So it wouldn't be anything more that we could add in that respect.
But we could have some volunteer or in-kind contributions.
We could encourage that. In terms of volunteer or in-kind, again, that always has a resource implication, but supporting them to encourage volunteers to come forward, for sure.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry. Am I supposed to send this hard copy in, or am I supposed to do it online?
No, this is sent via our committee.
Yeah.
I was going to ask the question, actually. Do we know if there is an option for individual participation from this?
I don't, is a short answer. I believe that they've shared it with their towns and parishes only. But if members want to send contributions through to us, They are looking for feedback by the first week of August, so it needs to be fairly quick.
So this actual that we've been sent is the actual town council's.
Yes, it would be
Yes.
us responding
with you now.
holistically for
Yeah.
the council. Yes.
I'm with you now.
Okay.
Thank
Could I ask Jules, could you, when sending back, find out if there is any option for individuals, or is there going to be any option for individuals to send their own feedback? Because I think there may be some other groups, etc., that are interested. I certainly know that there are different groups within the area that might have an interest, such as I'll declare an interest in one of mine, the Friends Amusement Park. They might have been interested to fill this out, but have not been approached with this. So to find out would actually be quite useful. Councillor Walsh, was you wanting to add anything?
Yes, just very briefly, I think one of the helps that we could offer in kind through volunteers is to use progress to invite householders to make sure that in periods of drought, any new plantings are watered outside their house by themselves. It will certainly help many more to survive when they're planted and then a period of dry weather ensues. Lots of people do it. Lots of people do it already,
Yes.
but I think if we put it in progress, we should encourage it.
Chuck the washing up water on
Exactly. Exactly.
Reuse it. I do it all the time in my garden.
So do I.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you,
noted.
Councillor Walsh. There's our water saving tips for the public. Okay, so is everyone with that noted, so that as it is filled out, that is what goes back, but with question 9 having a note to say that we'd be in support of seeing a option for residential verges to have applications for trees as well. Obviously, and I know James will know this as well, there are complications with that where they have to check with West Sussex regarding what's underneath the verges. So it wouldn't be, and I'm saying this more for the public, if you're interested, there are ways to do it, but it has to be checked first that we're not going to be putting a tree where it wouldn't be suitable. But if we could put that note in, that would be great. So is everyone in support of that?
Agreed.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, wonderful.
Agreed.
So that is carried. So I think that takes us to the end, which is item 8, which is exempt business, of which there is none. And so can I thank the staff for their support throughout this meeting and the members of the public for their patience. And of course, to all of our councillors who have been in attendance, and particular thanks to Councillor Chase for substituting for Councillor Malloy. I believe it's been a great opportunity for to discuss these and get some good ideas, particularly for the Queen's Platinum celebrations. And I'd like to just thank you all. So have a great evening, and I bring this meeting to a close at 7:23 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.